Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Riddle. We're going super casual today. It's a rainy day here in Santa Cruz, California, and I am helping out a friend by working on some wedding flowers for her. Her actual formal wedding is going to be in a different state though, and then she's going to have a party in Los Angeles. And she's going really contemporary with her party. The party's going to be thrown in a storefront in Los Feliz, and it's going to be pretty funky and young. But I still wanted to follow some of the typical traditions, and a lot of her friends are going to miss her original wedding, so they're going to miss out on things like the bouquet toss. So she's Chinese American, so our theme is going to be Chinese. We're doing lots of reds and Chinese lanterns and things like that. But I'm going to show you how to make paper flowers. And you can get really creative with this, and you can do them in any color, and you can do them in any size. So I'm just going to show you the basics, and then you can get really creative with it, and you get a lot of bang for your buck. So because I have to mail this, this is the beginning of the bouquet. You can see I got pretty detailed with the stamen, the pistils, stamen, and these have not been opened up yet because I'm going to be shipping these and I don't want them to get all crushed and mangled. So I'm going to send these to her and then give her instructions on how to pull back the petals to make the flowers really open and beautiful. And I'm going to finish off this stem of the bouquet that she can throw to her girlfriends at the end with some white ribbon and glue it on there and make a nice big bow that can fly through the air with some nice trails on it. But let me show you how to make the flowers. And you don't have to assemble them in a bouquet. You can attach them to chairs, you can make a garland of them, you can do anything with them. And it's just a really nice, inexpensive way of creating something beautiful. So, like many of my videos, you can get really complicated with this process, or you can do it really simplistically. We're doing a little more complicated process today. So what you're gonna need: pipe cleaners. I like this orange, found them at the dollar store, really nice, brilliant color. Tissue paper. Sometimes you can look out, this is from the dollar store, and it's a multi-pack. So you get lots of different colors. So I'm getting my green and my yellow from the dollar store tissue paper. And then I had to order extra red, solid red from the internet, but you could probably find it at a craft store like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So we are first going to, we fold our paper, and if you line it up really carefully and you have a super nice sharp pair of scissors like you'd use to cut fabric with, you can cut more than one petal at a time, and you get a nice big stack of them. And that way the process moves a lot faster and you have more continuity with the size of your petals. So I've already cut a nice thick stack of these petals, and I have them separated in singles and doubles because that's going to give us a neat kind of thickness to our flower when we unravel it. I also have cut my leaves, just basic pointed oval shapes, and I have my center of my flower cut in these little strands. How do I know the length that I'm going to make these strands that are going to go in the center of our flower? I'm going to start with my pipe cleaner, and I'm going to fold it over a little less than halfway, and then I'm going to give it a nice gentle twist so it looks like the center of a flower. You also need, you're going to need floral tape. This is the waxy stuff, and you're going to need some floral wire. I'm using two types of floral wire. I'm using a really thin one because I've got so many layers to this, and I'll show you how I'm going to use that. And then I have a thicker wire I got at the hardware store because I'm making these stems for the actual bouquet. Sometimes you can just use one thickness of floral wire and it's plenty if you're just going to hang the flowers. But because we're doing a bouquet, I needed a thicker flower to hold up the stems so this thing flies well. Okay, so we've already cut our little strips. I've bent my pipe cleaner in half, and now I'm going to add my strips along the outside. Now the trick to this is you have to be semi-ambidextrous, meaning you have to be able to use both hands equally as well. And I'm going to add my strips kind of generously, 2s and 3s and singles, it doesn't really matter. You just want it to be somewhat even. I'm going to give it, see that nice twist I'm giving it to help hold it together, but not too much because I don't want to tear it. And I'm going to just do them like a half an inch below where my center of my flower is. Looks very realistic. Then I'm going to have my wax floral tape ready. And the thing with floral tape, you want to give it a nice stretch because it's designed to stretch, and it's actually the warmth of your fingers that's going to help to make it join and bond to things. So I'm twisting my floral tape gently and very tightly around my paper and onto my pipe cleaner to the bottom, and then tear it off. So there's our beginning of the center of our flower. Then next, I'm going to pull a little more tape off, stretch it a little bit, and we're going to start with our petals. Now the thing with petals is placement, because you want it to look realistic, and when you open the flower, you want it to open naturally, to look natural and look layered. So we're going to start here. You can see I've put it about approximately halfway down my stem, and I'm going to very gently roll that in and hold it with my left hand nice and tight. There's our first petal. Then we're going to come to our second petal, and the same thing, but we're going to move it over next to it. So you can see where the second petal is placed right next to it, and now our third petal is going to, of course, make sense. It's going to be placed right here. So it's kind of like a perfect triangulation. There we go. And I'm holding it really tight at the bottom. And then we're just going to continue this. So we're going to keep going around in between our spaces, because that's how a flower is designed. So it's really easy. You just look at what you're doing. And then we've got this one. It's going to go in between these two. And you don't have to obsess about this. You just want it to be relatively congruent. And I am doing, you can do, towards the center of a bouquet, you can do less petals, like 5. You usually do odd numbers, 3 to 5. If you want it to look like a bud, you could just do 3. If you want it to look fuller, the more petals you add, of course, the fuller the flower is. And that kind of gives a realisticness. It makes it look like you have younger and older flowers. On this one, though, I'm going for a fuller flower, and I'm going to do 7 to 9 petals. Now it gets a little tricky because you really have to hold on with your left hand as you're turning and placing your petals, but I think that should be good. Now, you're not going to open it yet because we still have this handful of flowers. So here, instead of using tape, because we have so much bound up, we're going to use a little floral wire. You're going to take your green floral wire and you're going to wrap it around as tight as possible. And then you're going to continue this, wrapping it really tight, a good 5 times down your stem, joining it in with that original stem, and you're going to cut it with some wire snips. Okay, so there we have this beginning of this. Next, we are going to add our stem, being that this is going into the bouquet. I'm going to cut this stem, it's approximately 9 or 10 inches. Cutting that off. I'm going to feed this thicker stem into this, next to this stem, and then I'm going to wrap my original wire onto the thicker wire. And then I'm going to finish it with some floral tape, giving my floral tape a little stretch, starting it at the very, very top, because you always want to cover your mechanics. Whenever you do something crafty, you don't want it to look sloppy. So I'm stretching it and twisting, making sure I'm covering all of the stem nice and evenly, coming down my stem until we reach the bottom. Next, after we reach the bottom, you simply tear it off, and then we're going to put on our leaves. The same way you do the flowers, we're going to take our green tissue paper that we've cut into these leaves. You can give it a fold in the center if you want to give it more of a leafy look. And I put it on my stem, and I'm just doing some nice tight green tape. I'm going to go a little further down. Going to add my green against the stem, pinching it, and wrap the floral tape very tightly. And I was putting three groupings of leaves, but this time we're going to do 2 for the sake of the video. So now we have this, and this one I'm going to open up for you so you can see it. See the difference it makes. So gently, you just want to gently and patiently pull the petals back and separate them, because I cut these in groupings of 2. And you can see how it's going to bloom for us. It's very, because the shape I cut these, it looks a lot like a lotus. If you want it to look like a rose or a poppy or a peony, you would do rounded petals, spatula shaped, I would suggest. So just, look at nature, look at your subject matter, and mimic it, because nature's the best teacher, next to me. So you can see we've opened this up, gently unfolding it, and look at that. Isn't that pretty? So imagine this is going to be added to our bouquet, and you're going to have a really full, gorgeous bouquet of flowers when it's all done for pennies. I'm going to take this, I'm going to add it into the bouquet, I'm going to lower it a little bit because it's so full. I'm going to gently just kind of wrap it in here, and then I will finish it with some tape so it holds on really, really well. And then I'm going to finish this bouquet off with some white ribbon. I'm going to use a hot glue gun to do this properly, but just for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you. I'm going to finish the stem with this ribbon. You start it really tight against here. You'll put a couple beads of hot glue, and then we're going to wrap it, going all the way down to the bottom. Now this serves 2 purposes. One, it's going to make our bouquet look really finished, and it's going to keep the bride from snagging her finger on a wire, God forbid. And then I'm going to make a big white bow that's going to go right here, or maybe 2 of them with long trails of ribbon. And at the end of her party, she's going to have something really fun that she can throw to the girls, because I love that tradition to see who's going to get married next. And this way you can keep your original bouquet, because a lot of people do like to keep those and preserve them as a memory. And that's it. That's how you make a basic paper flower. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe. It helps. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye.